And welcome to Pulp Mythos. I'm Brian here with Larry and Spencer, and we're discussing Why Women Kill, Season 2, Episode number 8. There's only 2 left. If you've not hit the sub button, please do so. Leave a comment, leave a like, and yeah, let's talk about what I'm dubbing the tragedy of Isabel. We basically get, throughout the course of the entire episode, the flashbacks with her and Rita, starting to really understand that relationship, realizing that Isabel has spent pretty much her whole life protecting Rita, doing what's needed to make her life better. We find out that she is the one who killed Harry, but to protect Rita. Harry was abusive. He was attacking her. She shoots him. Becoming a maid, and that scene sort of hurt. She was there so excited. She had, pulled the strings to sort of get Rita to meet Carlo, and that marriage took place. But now all of a sudden she's got to be a maid. So throughout the course of the episode, there's a battle between Rita trying to figure out whether or not she's going to throw Isabel under the bus. She decides not to in the end. Isabel trying to figure out what she's going to do. And in the end, both of them care about each other and are going to make arguably the right choice. And then Alma shows up and kills Isabel. Um, it was sort of sad. It was the one death in the show where I was like, "Whoa, that sucked." After especially learning the whole truth of her life. What'd you guys think about her story arc as a character, and uh, what this means for Alma going forward now that she's directly murdered herself?
Um, I I don't agree with it being like Isabel being this great person and the will to survive. I think she was a shitty individual who was basically manipulating her cousin to try and better herself. Now, when I think initially she probably that was her intent, but after Harry died, I feel like she was going way beyond that. I don't feel like it was just for Rita. The fact that she was at a brothel and she wasn't the one sleeping with dudes, she was making Rita do it. It felt like a older sibling that was basically using their younger sibling to better themselves at the cost of the younger one. So she was using Rita and Rita's good looks and Rita's access to all these things to basically make her life better. And I when she died, I was sad for Rita. And Rita is not a great person, but seeing her backstory this episode made me feel more for her. It made me sympathize with her character a lot more. So Rita, by the end of this season so far, has been the redeemable story. You're just like, damn, she's had a fucked up life. Whereas Alma really didn't have a bad life. She just wanted so much more and has fucked everyone along the way.
Yeah, and I feel like the thing you said about Isabel, yeah, that's true to an extent, in my opinion. Just it's also a matter of, they were cousins, like, and that tells me that, given where we started with this flashback and everything, that both their parents probably weren't great. Isabel early on probably became a harder, colder person long before Rita, and it's like, and as far as what she was doing, what Rita was doing, like Isabel, yeah, she was getting some of the take on that, and that a lot of these were her plots, but it's she's a shitty person, but she's a shitty person that was raised by shitty people. They both were, and thought she was doing right by her, I think, in a lot of these scenes, whereas really she's just wrapping her up in these shitty little schemes. But they were poor. They were likely, deprived of any good moral influences, and
I also think you got to, and this is why I slightly disagree with Spencer. You got to think at the time. They're coming up. This is the ninth. They're coming up in the 20s and 30s, and into the Great Wars and or World War II and the 40s, and so some of the things, even like the brothel stuff, like I didn't look at it like I would if it was set in, say, today. I look at it a little differently, at least from my point of view.
Well, yeah, they
No,
know
I
that
don't
Isabel wouldn't have
agree.
brought in as much money that way, and there's the fact that she was also willing to murder the minute she saw that someone was even going to touch her cousin.
Well, see, and I don't disagree with their will to survive because they were trying to get money and make it any way they could. And their options at that time frame during basically the Depression, like you're saying, they're coming up.
Yeah.
There's the Depression, so people doing pretty much anything just to survive. I understand. Like I totally was on board with that. But my thing is I didn't feel like Isabel was willing to do a lot of stuff. She was basically just using Rita to basically do all that thing. That's what I'm.
There is a theme of toxic relationships throughout the entirety of the show and every aspect outside of Vern and Dee. They're the only two sort of heroes of the series. So I will agree there was a weird sick dependency between Isabel and Rita that they were both doing bad things and sort of using each other to a degree. But to me, the tragedy was in the end, both of them realizing that they actually did care about each other and sort of, making the decisions that were the right. Like I said, there are there are no good guys out. Like I said, outside of Vern and Dee, there are no good people in this show. But it was interesting to me. I had a completely different thought of Isabel, and based on the content that was in this episode.
Oh, I don't disagree with you. There aren't any really outstanding people in this, like you said, outside of Vern and Dee's, done very well. She's shown that she's at least has a conscience, unlike her parents or her mom. I mean, Birdie has a conscience, although his is really
he's got one, but
he's got one. It's just very weird. But yeah, I think that by the end of this, it does show what's going on. It does kind of show what they're willing to do to survive. But at the end of the day, the only characters I think that can be redeemed so far right now are Rita. Birdie, maybe. The whole killing somebody because they're an alcoholic is a little bit off for me. But the rest of it, like Rita's redeemable, but Alma, no. Like, at all. And they've done a really good job, like you said, the toxic relationships and kind of, we talked about it in Snowfall all the time, all the parallels that they were making. This show's done a great job with that as well.
Yeah, and it's like you said, outside of Dee and Vern, it's very telling that you're the closest thing you have to good is Scooter. It seems like.
Yeah, well, also playing to the theme of survival, in a way. Now, completely exploiting people, but here's a shitty actor in a town, and he's using his looks to his advantage, basically.
Well, yeah, and that says something I think about Rita's view of her past as well. That she knows what Scooter's doing. In fact, she plays into it sometimes. She's like, yeah, I might have enough money to fund a studio, and she's just playing off his wants to get something she wants. Because she wants Scooter, and and she's using him essentially as a gigolo. So
playing to his insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we Catherine knows the truth about Scooter and decides, she's going to use that to her advantage. But I'm assuming Rita's going to get let go because of the note Bertram left when Alma killed Isabel. How's Catherine going to play this game now? Now you have the two women. They're going to be warring with each other. She still may think that Rita did it. You know what I mean? She may think, okay, Isabel took the fall, but Rita still might be guilty. I don't know, but she's going to want to, I don't know where Scooter fits in. What does Scooter do? Because I'm assuming Rita's going to come back to the house. Scooter's with Catherine. How is she going to play this game? What is he going to do? That was my first thought at the end. I was like, damn, Scooter, I don't know how you play this.
Well, yeah, now it's the point where we get to see who Scooter really is. Like, deep down, is he willing to do anything that dirty just to stay comfortable?
Yes. Scooter has been one of my favorite sub characters, not because he's a good guy or nothing, just because it's funny. Like the way Scooter acts with everything he's willing to do, how he's manipulated everything, the Aunt Rita stuff. he is literally holding on for dear life. And now that Catherine knows it, I am super interested to see how he's going to try and spin the situation. And Catherine doesn't seem stupid to me. And Otto is a great sub character too, kind of.
Yeah, I love his intertone. Yeah, a new character, but yeah, great so far.
And to me, I'm interested to see how that's going to play into everything, because how how their relationship pans out is really going to, I think, build that character for me in the end. Because Catherine seems like she's very smart, very with it, but is she going to end up being a murderer at the end too, because she's scorned and mad, and or is she going to get Otto to do it? Is this going to be another, plot point, or is she just going to completely ruin Scooter? Like, I don't know how they're going to take that.
Yeah, it's hard to say, because that's the sort of thing Catherine might be using him, and like the minute she gets what she wants, she might just put him out on his ass and decide that she didn't really need anybody. Scooter may refuse to, testify against Rita. We may see that he's got more moral fiber than we thought to some degree, and he's like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to condemn this person I know isn't guilty.
We get Alma's in the garden club now. She's achieved her goals, and she sort of completed the cycle. Like I said, she's the one who kills Isabel. Which, how is Bertram going to deal with that going forward? Alma is now 100% in this. She's the villain. Where does it go from there with that character? And of course, the massive reveal at the end. Dee knows that they had something to do with Miss Yost, which plays out through the course of the entire episode. Dee sort of on a slight investigative journey, dealing with Miss Yost's nephew, Irvin, seeing that they had stolen items, that Miss Yost is missing, that her mom doesn't seem to care, and then, of course, in the end, finding the body because of Rocco the dog digging it up, her covering it back up, declaring to Vern, we got to go now, I want to elope. What does she do with this information? Does it break her? Does she tell Vern the truth? And the most effed up part about all this, they didn't kill Miss Yost. They just covered it up. Her death was an accident. So, this is the one thing they actually didn't do that they may go down for, which is sort of funny. But yeah, what does Dee do? And Alma, what now that she's full-blown murderer? Very interesting with those two characters.
I think that you're going to see, I think Dee's finally going to side against her parents after knowing, or at least her mom. I don't know about her dad just yet, but she's going to side against her mom after seeing what's happening, seeing what she's done, seeing that she doesn't care, seeing that she cares about the garden club more than anything else. Like, there's a lot of things that Dee didn't know about her mom that she's seeing now for the first time. And I think that with Vern and everything else, I think that she's going to be done. I think that it may be Vern that by the end of this is the one who finds out all the truths and almost going to go to jail. Either that, or he'll get Birdie to kind of jump on board with it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say how this is going to play out, because it could play out so many different ways. But I'm sure that given Dee, the person that we've seen she is so far, that she's going to crack on this one eventually. Like, she's still reeling from finding out what she found out and everything. And at the very least, Vern is going to notice that something is off about Dee right now, that she doesn't seem herself, and she'll eventually tell him. Tell him what she's suspicious of at the very least, and he'll investigate further, and we may get a true narrative, or like you said, they may be condemned by the fact that it appears that they killed Mrs. Yost.
We have 2 episodes left. All the players are still there. A few have been clipped, but the major ones, Alma, Rita, Catherine. Who goes down, or does all of them go down in some weird twisted way? Catherine is not a villain. At least she hasn't done anything that I would deem, villainous yet. She might. We'll see in the next couple episodes. But Rita and Alma obviously definitely have done villainous things, Alma being a straight up murderer. Who are you rooting for? You were saying earlier, Spencer, that you think Rita is the one that sort of may get the redemption story.
That's, I mean, other than Vern and Dee, because they're kind of,
I'm not including. Yeah,
they're the
yeah.
ones carrying the story, but at this point, they're not the main focus. But to me, Rita has the most redeemable storyline where, yes, she manipulated Scooter, but she was, and it doesn't make it okay, but she was insecure about her age. She didn't really want to be with her husband, but she saw that as a way out of, basically being in a brothel, and she felt safe. And although she hated Carlo, she didn't feel in danger. Although she told everybody she was, she didn't, she didn't feel that way. But so that was like safety net. And then once he died, she was happy. And I think that was, her story going forward. You were like, oh, she finally got to be happy. You didn't understand why. And now that we do, her story to me is the one that is the most intriguing as far as how it will play out in the end.
Yeah, it's hard to say, who comes out how, but my guess is that Alma will think that she's wrapped things up very neatly, and like you all said, the Mrs. Yost thing will be the thing that gets them. And the fact that Dee knows, Alma may very well cover this up. She might wind up killing a one or two more people, actually. But it'll be either Bertram or Dee's conscience, and there's the question: Does Bertram survive Alma at this point? Because if she keeps seeing that he has a guilty conscience, is he going to live through this?
Well, and I think you mentioned it, Brian or Larry. I don't remember which one of you said it, but she's almost mentioned it before that her justification for basically fucking over Rita was because Rita hurt her. Rita was a bad person. She made everybody else sick. Like basically playing to Bertram's. That was his justification for basically killing everybody, was that they were sick. So at the end of this, I think that it's a strong possibility that he may kill Alma because he's seeing what she's doing to Dee, what she's doing to him, and how she's affecting all the people at the gardening club. So I think he may see her, how she saw Rita, and take her out.
Yeah, that was another theory that she would, that would happen, and we would end with Bertram playing the music and, and sedating Alma and everything.
I definitely could see that. Yeah, maybe to both of them.
Yeah,
him and her. Maybe to end the suffering of Dee and the community around them. I could see a scenario like that playing out, definitely.
Yeah, that seems very possible.
Like I said, there are only 2 episodes left. Very interested to see. It's funny, we have 2 new characters were introduced this week, Irvin and Otto, and they both were great for the bit parts they had. Be curious to see if they're more important in the final 2 episodes, and the detective, which we have seen a couple times before. Any final thoughts on Why Women Kill, season 2, episode 8?
No.
Yeah, none here. Just looking forward to seeing how this whole thing plays out. Now that we're a lot closer to the end.
So yeah, we're gonna wrap this up here. A lot of other content coming to the channel soon. Look out for American Horror Story double feature late August. Bunch of shows coming up in September. I think a couple others in August. We haven't discussed which we're going to be doing yet, but keep an eye on the channel. We also may do a few more movie reviews than we normally do. So yeah, we appreciate everyone listening, and we will see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.